What's your name, sir?
None of your business. Get out. Go down here.
Are you interfering with filming?
Go down.
Have
here.
you read NRS 171-1233?
You know what? I don't want you taking a photograph.
Too bad.
I'm going to take it away from you.
You're touching my. You're assaulting me, sir. You're assaulting me, sir. I'm following up on a case where I was a crime victim. Can you find the case and tell me where it's at? Good afternoon, everybody. It's Drew with Auditing Reno 911. Today is Friday, January 5th, 2024. I'm going to the Washoe County District Attorney's Office. I haven't followed up on the security guard attack much. I've been busy, so now I'm getting back into this, obviously, posting a lot more stuff. So going to go upstairs to them and see what information they've got, what actions were taken or not taken from the allied security guard that attacked me at the Nevada DMV here back in July. So that's what we're about today. So we're back at the, let's see, Millsby Lane Justice Center. Hi there. How are you? I'm following up on a case where I was a crime victim. Can you find the case and tell me where it's at? It's been a while.
Do you have the DA number at all?
Not with me, no. Can you look it up by my last name?
Yeah, or the defendant's name. That might be a little bit easier.
I don't know if I've got all his information with me.
What's your name?
Drew, D-R-E-W, Rebar, R-E-R. And it should be in there. You guys sent me a letter. Hopefully you can find it. If not, then I can. The defendant's name, his first name would be Tom.
Tom?
And it happened at DMV back in July, I believe. Should be a battery complaint taken by Capitol Police.
The last thing that I see on here is for a hearing back in September. Do you remember that? September 8th?
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's why I was following up, is because I hadn't really heard anything.
Anything from since then? Okay. And do you have an advocate assigned to you?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, it looks like you don't have anything else. It looks like he was sentenced, but it doesn't tell me any other information. Sentenced on September 13th.
So he was sentenced September 18th, you said?
13th.
September 13th he was sentenced.
It looks like he was found guilty, but I can't see anything else. So what I can do is take down, well, I already have the information, and then I can have an advocate follow up.
Okay.
It doesn't look like anyone is assigned to you, so I'll go ahead and send this over to the supervisor.
Okay.
And then she can give you more information.
And where would I get court records? Justice or district?
This would be the justice court.
Okay. And then I've got another question with regards to justice court. Evidently the Chief Justice, Scott, what's his name, Pearson? He ordered that the press cannot film inside the clerk's office. So I film all of my interactions with government.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you're aware of Article 1, Section 9 of the Nevada Constitution, which is freedom of press. It says no law shall be made barring or interfering with the press. And here we've got a Chief Justice barring the press from gathering public information. So how would I gather that public information if I'm not allowed to go in there with a camera, and I won't go in there and relinquish my right to record and document and disseminate? So how would I get that documentation when I can't get a public records request done that way?
I'm not sure. Did you want to speak with someone?
Sure, yeah.
About that? Okay,
Yeah.
Just because I'm not super familiar with
No, I appreciate it.
Okay, yeah. Let me message one of our investigators. I'm going to send them a message. If you want to have a seat, or you can sit
I'll wander
here as
around.
well.
I got the camera out of your face for a minute.
No, you're good.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So we're gonna wait for an investigator. For those of you that haven't followed my channel, if you go back and look in my previous videos, you'll see a video about a judge blocking members of the press with cameras from accessing the court clerk's office. So since that's blocked and I can't record, how do I get information? So they've got 1, 2 cameras up there. How many cameras they got in here? 2 up there. Big old bank of cameras right there, it looks like. Whole bunch of cameras.
I witnessed an attempted murder. That man was attempting murder.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, he was meaning it. I was like, this is really happening in front of me? Are you kidding?
No, okay, so for this hearing, you're gonna go back onto the elevators, onto the second floor.
Okay.
That's the Reno Justice Court.
Okay.
And you will be in courtroom 4. We'll just check in with one of the bailiffs.
Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Do you know how long this might take?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of witnesses, so it might be for a while.
Oh, okay. There was a lot of us.
Yeah.
So it's the second floor in the courtroom
Yes, courtroom 4.
4.
You got an interesting story. Mind telling me the camera?
Sure, why not?
What's your story that you
Well,
saw?
I was at Bonanza early 4th of July morning, and I'm talking to this one cat, and he's from California. He wants to know what's a good place to see the fireworks with his son and his new girlfriend. And we're lying getting changed, and I go sit back down at the bar. And a few minutes later, I thought somebody was throwing fireworks at this guy. You know, it's 4th of July, and it was just pop, 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 pop. People hit the dust and getting peppered with like broken glass and stuff, and everybody hits the deck, and people started running, and I just stood up and started pushing. It was malfunctioning. The gun was malfunctioning with him, so I having a hard time hitting the guy. And
Was that on the news?
I don't think it was on the news. I don't think it was hush.
That's why I do this stuff. That's why I
Right.
record stuff, because
Oh, it's really
Here's-
interesting. I
here's-
couldn't believe I was right there at the bar. I just was like, well, this guy's having a hard time together.
So what-
I was like, what are we going to do now? Because I don't want to get shot in the back and I'm trying to run.
what day was this?
4th of July last year.
4th of July
About
last year.
2:30 in the morning.
And there was a shooting,
Yeah, this cat came in. He was attempting murder, man.
and it's not on mainstream media news.
I haven't seen it there, you know.
That's crazy,
It was like a
isn't it?
blip in the newspaper. And where I was working at, some of the people were like, oh, that guy died. And then some other people, no, he lived, no, he died. I was like, he was a nice guy. I was talking to the guy that was getting shot.
That's-
That kid catches one in the hip, I remember that.
Oh, God.
And then he hits the ground and the guy's still trying to shoot at him. The gun's malfunctioning, he cracks out 3 more rounds and then he just leaves. So I'm like,
And then when we get back,
whoa,
this is
like,
where
you know,
we're checking
expletive, what the heck is going on?
That's got to mess with your head a little bit. At least mine, it would mess with mine. I
I
think.
was kind of excited. I was like,
Yeah.
what is happening here? And then
By
that
the
guy
elevator?
split, and then this guy, I was like, can you go right? I can't remember his name, Kevin or something. And he gets up, walks off, and goes into the kitchen, I guess, is where they ended up falling down in the kitchen there, and then the police sheriff and all this arrived. And,
Crazy.
yeah, they were all Jesus. Did you see anything? I was like, yeah, I'll write down verbatim what I see now.
Well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
Interesting story you got.
Well, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Sure, I got some pizza to do.
Have a good one. Hey, guys.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. My name is Drew.
Hi, Drew.
I was a victim of a crime
Okay.
for recording.
Oh,
Allied security guard came and tried to rip a camera out of my hand.
here?
No, at the DMV.
Okay.
And I'd filed a complaint. Capitol Police took it. The gentleman was convicted on September 13th of this year, and I'm trying to get court records. Justice Scott Pearson in Justice Court has created a law, judicial order. I call it a law. But the judicial order says that I can't go into the clerk's office with a camera.
Right.
Article 1, Section 9. You guys are peace officers?
Yep.
So you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the State of Nevada?
Yep.
So, you know what Article 1, Section 9 of our state constitution is?
What is it?
It's freedom of the press. Freedom of the press says that no law shall be made to abridge the rights, freedom of the press. But yet here we are going into public places. I, as a victim of crime, cannot go down there and get my public information, document, disseminate my interactions with the court. You see the problem that I'm having? So I want to get my information on my case as a victim. I believe Marcy's law affects me then, since I am a victim. The man was convicted. How can I get those records and not be arrested by going in there with a camera to document my interactions with my government?
Back to the Reno Justice Court.
Did you talk with because that's the city marshals down there?
Well, yeah,
so they
and
probably are over
Well,
court?
they are, and I've gone in there. The first time I went in there, another man asked me to come and film him, filing something with the court, and they intercepted me at the door. There were no signs there that said you can't film, They intercepted me and stopped me from filming. And then a week or two later, I came back to test it and try to get information. And I asked them for a public information request, and they said that they won't send somebody out of the office to take one from me. I can't go in the office to give them one. So how do I exercise my right to get public information, especially on my case under Marcy's law, so I know what happened to my case? You got, so it's a constitutional question, and also let me put it to you this way, because you're peace officers, yes. So these marshals are peace officers. NRS 171-1233 says that law enforcement officers cannot interfere with somebody filming as long as they're not breaking laws, doing other things like that. I've got law enforcement officers downstairs saying that you can't go film here because a judge said no. But I believe that judge's orders are unconstitutional, and I want my information, again, as my right, and again, Marcy's law. No, I know you're not.
So, I mean, it's hard because he did a judge's order.
I understand.
And you usually can do it within the courts and stuff like that, where you have to file a kind of a motion or something to ask to film in the
Well, in the courtroom.
In the courtroom,
And because
he's not over the building, of course, yes. So
but he's taken over the clerk's office, and he's taken his judicial power outside of his courtroom. It's now affecting me adversely and interfering with my constitutional.
Online to get this stuff?
What's that? I like to document and disseminate so people can watch what I'm doing. That's part of the purpose of why I film, is to present information to the people. So, for example, I just found out that on July 4th, did you know that there was a shooting in Reno, Nevada? Because the news media didn't put it out there.
Well, I mean, we probably did. I don't know which one you're talking about.
Well, there's the problem, because there's so many of them, the media doesn't report it. So that's really part of my issue and why I'm filming. But it goes back to the question of how do I get these documents from the court when the Chief Justice has said that Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution, State of Nevada, he can write a judicial order, a law, to prevent me from exercising my right in that room to gather information. Because the Supreme Court of Nevada also has court rules that say that they have to give public information out under certain things, especially since it's a closed adjudicated case and I am the victim.
Right.
So can you help me ask the judge that? Because otherwise what I am going to end up doing is I'm not going to file a, what do they call it, a motion to get in there. What I'm going to file is, are you aware of a case law called Mack versus Williams? Nevada Supreme Court, December 29th, 2020, last year, 2022. So a little over a year ago.
Huh?
And what that case law says is there's no qualified immunity in the state of Nevada, and you can sue. I can sue you personally, just like it got rid of qualified immunity and opened up individuals to lawsuits. So what I'm going to do, if I can't do this, is I'm going to sue the judge personally. I'm going to see if I can break his judicial immunity since he's acting outside of his courtroom, and I'm going to sue the officers personally. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather just be able to come in, get my information, do my business, and move on.
Sure. Well, one, let me thank you for coming in and asking what I
think that's the case, right?
yeah, what I feel like is an interesting yet complicated legal question.
It is, isn't it?
So what I'll say to that is, I don't know the answer. But what I would like to do is find somebody in the building that does know the answer.
I'd appreciate that, yeah.
Do you have a cell phone number?
Yep, it's on there.
I have a case number, but do you have like
Oh.
a phone number I could get back to you?
Yeah, it's 775-223-7899.
So hopefully I can find a better answer than I
Right.
know.
No, I recognize you're a different than justice court, just like district court is not justice court. Everybody's
Right. Well, I respect,
different people, different bosses.
respect the position you're in. You don't know unless you don't ask. So, again, thank you for being respectful. I appreciate you allowing us to come out and talk with you a little bit. I got a gist of what you're asking. Let me do some research and have somebody call you back that knows better
Okay.
than I do.
Yeah, because I want my information, but beyond my information, I want to ensure that everybody's constitutional rights are upheld, and that one man doesn't become, because as I see this judge acting, he's acted as the legislature, he's acted as the governor, all while sitting in his office.
Right.
And that's stepping outside of his role in our
Now, when
system.
you talk to the marshals, though, they wouldn't help you, or
They refused to have somebody come out and give me information, and they refused to allow me to go in and make the information request because I have cameras. And here's what I do know. People have gone in there with secret cameras. But since we don't know about those, we don't enforce those laws. Judicial orders, I should say. See, there's a huge problem with that order because if I do want to go in there with a pen camera, a glass camera, or whatever other camera, a button camera, you know, there's all kinds of technology out there. I'm being demonstrative and making sure everybody sees it, but not everybody is. So again, that's an issue too with just the general public.
Well, I appreciate your transparency
yeah.
and what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Let me find a better answer than I don't know.
Okay.
I'll call you back. Let me get you my card.
Okay, and I'll tell you where to go look if you want to see the videos.
Sure.
They're posted of my interactions downstairs with that court, with those the marshals.
right? Because it's usually those guys. I mean, they handle city.
Yeah.
City of Reno.
Yeah. Or is Justice Court City of Reno or is Justice Court County?
Well, it's weird. I mean, Billings County, but because well, it's county, it's ours, but it's usually those are city marshals.
Right. Okay. Cool. And what was your name?
JJ.
JJ. I'm Drew. And what was his name?
His name is Sean.
Sean. He's going to give me a card. So
Yeah, he's gonna give you his card.
I just like documenting stuff.
No worries.
You guys should wear body cameras.
Yeah. I mean, it's good.
Oh, I mean, they got 4 cameras over there, 2 cameras right there.
I mean, it's on camera. So
But just for general, because you guys go out in the public and interact with that too, right?
we do when we're meeting with victims and witnesses. Oh, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
I'm just saying I like cameras. They protect you. They protect me. You can lie. I can lie, but these don't lie. And I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm just saying we could all lie.
Totally understand. We all can.
We're all human beings.
Mr. Rebar,
Okay.
that's my supervisor. My
Dory?
name is on the back. I didn't
Okay.
have one of my cards on.
Cool.
So I just figured I'd give you that one.
Okay.
The phone numbers are the same for both of us. If you don't hear something back from us, give us a call.
Okay.
And let us know.
All right. Well, I'll keep following up.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm getting ready to do. I won't. Doesn't matter what I'm getting ready to do.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, guys. You have a good one. Appreciate it. So they still don't have any signs up. No smoking. No signs about cell phones, but I'm not going to risk getting arrested. I'm not going to get arrested on a Friday if I can avoid it. And since they gave me a copy of the administrative order, they can't say that I didn't know about it, so I have been noticed. So let's go back over here, and we'll go get them to call the marshals back down and have them talk to us again. Can you guys call one of the Justice Court marshals down for me?
I'm sorry?
Can you guys call one of the Justice Court marshals down for me? And speaking of cameras, there's more of their cameras right there. There's one there, another one there. But I can't have my camera. That was me that called you again. How are you doing again?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you doing today?
Well, I don't know if you know, but I'm a victim of a crime.
Okay.
The case was adjudicated and the man was sentenced September 13th. And I want to get records.
Okay.
Marcy's law, I believe, protects me. But again, the judge's orders versus Article 1, Section 9 of the state constitution, how do I get my public records for that?
Well, again, you can go without your camera and get your public records.
No, I'm not going to relinquish my Section 1, Article 9 constitutional rights.
Then you don't get your records.
So the judge's order is trumping the Constitution.
It's not trumping the Constitution. It is under the federal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is over the Nevada state Constitution.
But
Yes,
not the Nevada Constitution.
It
You
is.
don't get to diminish the Nevada Constitution with the
Federal
judicial
rights
order.
can put more limitations, but the state of Nevada cannot put less limitations on on those rights.
That's what I mean, is you've taken my right away for freedom of press, because it says no law shall be made to abridge the right.
Well, how
That's-
do you fix it?
How do you fix that?
Yeah, if you're contesting something, if you want to challenge a
Well,
law,
well,
here's the process.
there's
You
two-
go to the
two-
higher court with your case, right? And then if the higher court says, hey, this law is unconstitutional, then that puts the court in law, the original, or the policy in this case, drafts the constitution, or drafts the policy, then they have to do the one to correct it.
Okay,
But that's
well,
the process.
yeah.
The process isn't arguing with the bailiffs about this.
Well, no, the part of the process is because you're enforcing it. And the way that I'm gonna deal with it is I'm gonna file a oppression of rights under the color of law lawsuit.
Yeah.
And, well, no,
And we encourage you to do that,
but
Drew.
you're gonna be named personally though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not like we have a problem.
Yeah,
We don't have
I
any-
told you last time, I've done numerous of these cases. I've went to federal court, I've testified. I've
Okay.
had 3 people sue me, they all lost. So I'm
well, no,
welcome
that
to-
was federal court. This
That was federal court.
this is state court that I'm
And
talking
you can go
about.
right ahead, sir. Let you know the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals has also enacted a no filming policy entirely in their courthouse and has allowed other courts to follow suit under their jurisdiction.
But again,
too.
you're talking federal courthouses, not state courthouses, and state courthouses are regulated by the Supreme Court of the state of Nevada.
And when I handed you that document, the Supreme Court has said, the Nevada Supreme Court has said that this is not a public forum and that judges can exercise restriction on First Amendment rights inside this courthouse.
Right, but you're saying is a public forum. I'm not using it as a public forum.
You are trying to
I'm
exercise your First Amendment rights. That is a public
No,
forum.
no, public forum is right to assemble or speak. I'm not trying to speak.
It's also including the
I'm-
First Amendment, the freedom of the press, right?
Well, but you don't practice religion in a courthouse, so
Right.
that's not here.
And there's
You-
also
you don't-
restrictions on press in a courthouse. There always has been and there always will be.
in the judge's courtroom.
Okay. Well,
And the
here's-
judges, listen to me for a second, because the judge's order specifically says that he's stepping into unknown territory by stepping outside of his courtroom and putting restrictions in the clerk's office. So the judge's order specifically states that stuff. So he's stepping outside of his judicial authority within his courtroom
No,
to
I didn't
decide.
say he's stepping outside his judicial authority.
He's-
He's saying we're stepping into a realm that just wasn't previously.
Right, and now you've got,
Correct.
The
and-
10th
all it
Circuit
is.
Court of Appeals says decorum must be maintained in a courthouse.
Okay.
And if people do not want to be filmed by other people in a courthouse, they have that right to peacefully conduct business with the government without being filmed.
and yet my Article 1, Section 8, Nevada constitutional right, Marcy's law, is now being denied me because the judge made an order. Well, no, I
Marcy
can't
law
get,
doesn't- Let me tell you
I
about
can't get
Marcy
the
law, 'cause
documentation.
I was on the very beginning of that when it was in legislation, very beginning.
So I can't get the
Nothing
documentation.
in Marcy's law says you as a victim have the right to record yourself while you're conducting Marcy law business.
No, but
Nothing is in there.
Article 1,
Nothing.
Section 9 says I
I
do.
don't, listen, the Nevada Supreme Court precedent says a judge can make exceptions to anything. It's called a judicial admin order. Nevada Supreme Court precedent says our judges can manage and pass policies and procedures as they deem fit for the safety and security of the court, the participants. A little history about why that order exists. A First Amendment auditor such as yourself, very professional in his knowledge, took a very similar selfie stick with a phone like that. And he went in there when we didn't have a policy. We really couldn't do nothing, right? Do you agree with that? Before the policy is, we could not arrest anybody for going in there. Now we can't. That's what that policy and power is. But you know what he was doing that you haven't done? He was going to individual windows and recording everybody's business that they're doing at the counter. And his stance was, if they don't want me to know their business, they need to safeguard their stuff. If they're at the ATM, they don't want me to know their PIN number, they have to safeguard their stuff. Well, guess what? Forced our hand, we ain't gonna distinguish between people wanting to record in the business area there. And even though you might be a more professional and eloquent type auditor than that guy, you're paying for his mistakes.
So
You're paying for
everybody,
his
so what you're saying is everybody else's feelings, because they couldn't maintain.
It's not their
me
feelings,
ask
it's their
you this.
right to act
Well,
peacefully
no,
and
but
do
you-
transactions with their government.
Right, but I'm denied that opportunity now. So
Well, let me
You're
ask you this.
not, you're not at all. You just can't have a camera and do
I
it.
can't exercise my Article 1, Section 9, First Amendment rights because
It's
of
not
them.
gonna change. You try this
Okay,
every time.
do
You
you
try the
think
ADA
my-
way, it's not gonna change.
I'm trying every way I can.
You try the legal way. Go ahead and sue.
I-
That is the legal way.
Well, let me
just-
give you some food for thought before
Okay.
we gotta go to the meeting. Do you think if I'm applying for a protection order and I list my child's name on there, that's not protected information? Do you think if I do a business transaction with a bank card, a credit card, my debit card, those numbers aren't protected? Those are the kind of transactions that are in there. Clerk picks up the phone and sometimes they're reading back credit card numbers and expiration dates for people who elect not to come here in person. That thing can amplify sound, magnify pictures with extreme clarity. That is why this policy exists. It isn't because we want to be a jerk to you guys.
But like I said,
because
you're,
of one
you're
guy,
restraining me from getting
yes,
information.
well, it's restraining anybody from wanting to
It's not
record.
restraining you, it's restraining the camera.
It's
not
restraining
you.
the camera. You're allowed to go in there, you just can't record.
Right, so if somebody has, say, memory problems
yeah.
and they need to document the pictures and the things in there for a disability, then that would be disallowed too.
No, you can actually request the security footage if you want, if you have a
No,
ADA reason for
that's
doing
not
that.
what I'm
You're
saying.
You're not gonna bring your own camera in there.
You're not gonna bring
do
your,
it.
so like I said, if they've got documents there and a consumer wants to take pictures of the documents that are their documents, you won't allow that.
So what you're saying is that they couldn't take pictures of the documents before they submitted them into court?
Or any documents that got across the counter that were public
Well, then they would be
information.
handed the documents, why would they need to take a picture of them?
If there's copy fees or anything like that, that they're gonna charge in there for any fees like that.
Which a receipt is offered.
But why should you have to pay for copies if you can just take a picture and disseminate it
The
yourself?
thing is, it's not gonna change. Here's the thing. I think actually our judge, compared to a lot of other courthouses, is pretty fair here by only restricting certain areas. If he wants to, he could actually have this whole courthouse restricted. Las Vegas did it, and it's being upheld. So, I mean, is that what we need to do now to keep from getting these engagements
and I
was on
think-
lunch, just to let you know, which is a federally protected right,
Right.
under workplace right. So, I mean, interrupted during my lunch to come down here and argue with you again over constitutional law, which the judge and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and the Nevada Supreme Court has said is valid. And we're doing this over and over and over again. I don't think you're a bad guy, but if you want to contest it in court, that's the way to do it. It's not to get
I
in
just wanna
arguments
get-
with me all the time.
I'm not trying to argue with it. I'm not arguing with it. I'm just bringing up issues where this law that the judge wrote, he wrote some case
It's not a
law.
law, it's a judicial
A
order.
judicial order that has the effective law, because that's what the case law says. Judicial orders have effective law, just like regulations have effective law. And so the way the courts look at them, if you compare this again to the Constitution of the state of Nevada, Article 1, Section 9, no law shall be made to interfere
Okay,
with the
but
press.
you don't make that determination. That's what
Oh, that's,
Supreme
but,
Court's
but,
justice.
but unless I gather the
That's
information to
Nevada
make the
Supreme
argument.
Court justice law to make that determination, not you, me,
Security
somebody
guards,
else.
anybody else.
Well, no, it's, but
See,
it's
because
my
a lot of
place
people
to,
don't
it's my place to gain standing. It's my place to bring, why is this unconstitutional? Because I've got rights under Article 1, Section 8 of the
Let me ask you this.
Constitution. I've got rights under Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. So this judicial order is affecting two
So you say this
constitutional
is
rights.
wrong, right?
I do say this is wrong.
Then contest it.
That's what I'm
But
gonna
it's-
do.
Well, no, you're wasting our time.
No, I'm not wasting your
We
time.
come down here each and every time. In fact, we didn't even engage you. You were standing over there. I didn't even know you wanted to talk to us. You came up to us,
I wanted to
right?
find out how I can get the information as a crime
That's,
victim.
we're not legal advisors.
Right,
You
but
have
but
to-
they won't come out and give you information, you said.
Okay,
So I can't contact them anyway in person to gather the information.
you know what?
Again, that could be a great argument for court. Tell
There you
them
go.
how you cannot walk in there without a camera
Tell them
and
how
get
you
the
can't
information.
record and get your information, but you can go in and get your information if you're not recording. Tell them that, okay? Because that's what the truth is. Okay, you're the one that's preventing yourself from going in there by not turning that off just for that very simple and quick transaction, especially right now with no
Yeah,
line.
no, I'm
Right?
seeing there's,
So-
well, that's the
So,
issue. There's
but-
been no line the
but-
whole time.
Okay, forget that. That's not the crux here. The crux is you want to challenge your judicial admin
Yes,
order.
that's the issue.
Go challenge it, okay?
I'm
We'll
going
see
to.
you in court. You know what? If I get a lawful summons to appear for this case on behalf of Drew's complaint,
Can I get everybody's names and badge numbers written down?
I gave you my name on my
Yes,
last
I-
one.
I've
And
already
we
got
saw
it
your
three
Reno
times.
911. You got our information
Yeah,
there.
it's on there.
Yeah, so, you know.
Go ahead, fine. We're not
So-
going anywhere. We'll gladly go to court with you. It's
Yeah.
nothing personal. It's
It's
business.
not personal to me at all.
Yeah.
To me, this is, the state of Nevada specifically has these areas going up in a lot of different places now where you
Oh, you're
can't
gonna
film.
see what's going on here massively spread like wildfire across this country, and guess what? Until somebody such as yourself
well,
wants to
there's lots
challenge
of
it,
people like
Can I
me.
tell you
Makes
one little
everything
quick story that
Sure.
makes me mad about this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, I don't care if you're filming me or anything. So I used to live in California, right? I used to live on a farm way out in the country, okay? And we had this thing, open carry, just like you can do here, right? Well, we had a bunch of sorry for my language, jackasses that decided that open carry meant that they can go running down the streets in cities with AR-15s and shotguns and all that. And because of that, California instituted a law that took away open carry because people were exercising the rights wrong. So then my family, who wore a gun on their hip while they're working on the farm, walking across the street in public area, all that kind of stuff, could not do that anymore. And it's because of things like that and people acting that way that gets more and more rights restricted from on people.
Well, and see, that's the problem is we're restricting the entire country's or the cities or the states' rights. And actually with California keeps trying to implement more and more gun control. And if you're watching the California Second Amendment cases go through and the U.S. Supreme Court case under Bruin, I think I mentioned that case law to you
We talked
before,
about that, yeah.
the case law of Bruin, the California laws are starting to get struck down.
But this thing's been enacted over 10 years now.
Exactly.
Way over 10 years.
And now it's finally starting to get struck down.
Well,
So I mean, is this going to be a 10-year fight for this? And if it is, it is.
I mean, that's.
I mean,
how can you predict it?
so-
You
so
may go in
to-
on the first time this goes to court and somebody says, hey, this is incorrect, right? I mean, or, you know, you're not satisfied with the high court here, so you take it to a higher court. And that venue could take years getting in here, but that's how the process works.
walk upstairs to district court.
You know,
Right. And again, we will always go for summons. We will always tell the truth on the stand. Everything's recorded. I mean, I have no problem always telling the truth. And we'll yeah. And if the district court says or the federal court says, hey, you're right. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Rebar.
Rebar?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't want to mispronounce it.
No, I'm good with that.
Okay, Mr. Rebar.
I don't try to hide who I am.
Yeah. If you're 100% right, and you know we think you should allow that with camera, then we'll let you do it. But right now, we're upholding what the judicial order under the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said, and that's
I get your position. There's nothing personal in this. To me, what this is, we're all probably similar aged.
well, thank you.
Through
he's a little older than us. But
I don't
yeah.
know. I got a bunch of gray
About
on
a
me.
decade.
But throughout our lives, have our constitutional rights become more and more restricted, or have they opened up over the course of your lives?
It's been
Like you just said with open carry in California.
depends on the right. Some of them have been a little bit more. You know, I agree totally with the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals right that you can film police officers in public. I agree with that. I wanted to be
Well,
filmed.
you've got to agree with the Ninth Circuit, the First Circuit, the Tenth
Right.
Circuit,
The 10th Circuit was the most recent, though.
is
That
Ari
just came in.
versus Yahia.
Yeah. You know, I agree with a lot of that stuff. So actually, that's been less restricted because before I think there was a lot more contentiousness between officers and just a random person like yourself, let's say, filming from a reasonable distance of an engagement with somebody. I have no problem with that. You know, when I worked the street for many years, I had a body camera. I had no issue with that. It was on during every encounter, you know? But that was all looking as, you know, hey, you're doing your job right, put a camera on.
So let me ask you a question. So if I go into that room and I take off these visible cameras and I put on my hidden cameras, what are you going to do about that? And I come in and I go.
Well, hypothetically, right?
Well,
If we know it's hidden, we ain't gonna notice, right? So why would we don't just make stuff up, right? It's
I'm not looking
MSU
for reasons
University.
to
No,
arrest people.
no, I
It's-
understand.
That's like along the
But-
same lines.
but-
as
but I'm
when I
just
worked
saying-
when I worked the street,
You're-
listen. When I worked the street, when I was a street guy and I was doing traffic enforcement, and I pulled over this car, but the car that just passed us, they take it up to 20 mile an hour over the speed limit down the road. I don't know about it, I can't do nothing about it.
Right.
You're in the same boat here. If you were so discreetly recording that nobody would be able to look at you and know that you're recording, you know, this isn't like
That's what I'm saying.
clairvoyant
But
law
then I go and then I post that interaction online. What are you going to do with
happened,
that?
you know what I would do? I would report it to the people above me and wait for further instructions.
Because that would be an interesting case too, wouldn't it?
It would be a very, you know, in fact, bullshit aside, I never thought of that scenario.
I mean,
Because-
I guess it's no different if you just did audio and put a phone in the pocket. I mean, we're not going to just search everybody that goes in, of course. That's against the law.
Fourth Amendment.
Fourth Amendment right, yes.
Yeah,
And
so-
so, you know, I mean, there's always ways people circumvent stuff, but it's the obviousness of having things out in front of people in there that make people uneasy, that cause conflict and confrontation, as you know, because you've been doing this.
And that's why I just said it's about feelings, not about facts.
Well,
Because it's about how,
but the
it's about,
She would have
information.
seen the
Yeah.
scenario that transpired that got this.
well,
taken
and,
away.
and that's one individual, and if that individual is going across the counter, that's a violation of law, and you can't do something against that guy under the law.
It wasn't because there was no law that said recording on how to record and what you could record while you're
And how you could do
You
it.
know, I mean, there's no law. It's called human decency, sir. Okay, that guy, you know, I can tell, you know, you come in here, you're pushing as far as you can. I get it. That's what you guys do. But you know what? You're not like trying to learn people's identity. When you were in there before this happened that one time, because I remember that.
The first time, I was with
You didn't
another
take
man.
your camera and go over to, you went at window 5 and went over to window 4 and take your camera and looking over there,
No,
looking
I'm-
at what that person's doing.
No, all that I'm doing is watching the interaction. I don't care about the paper.
But
But,
look
like
at
I
it from
said,
the court's perspective. We can't distinguish between, oh, you can record in there because you're not messing with other people, but this guy can't record in there because he messed with other people.
Well, see,
no,
that's-
it's just,
and that's
it's
where I
a
go-
blanket policy that says no more
but that's where I
recording.
go back to Article 1, Section 9 of the Nevada Constitution that says you shall make no law to abridge the rights of the press. So that's what the Constitution
Well,
says.
the Constitution does say that, not gonna argue that, but, you know, the precedents that the Supreme Court has set says
So,
our judge and any judge of any courthouse can pass policy for the sake of business, for the sake of
Decorum in the courthouse.
decorum in the courthouse. You notice it's not a violation of law for you to not wear shorts and shoes and pants, right? You go in that court and that judge mandates that.
Oh.
And if you were to show up without shorts, shoes, and court inside the courtroom, and it's just,
that's inside the
it
courtroom.
doesn't matter, it's not a violation of law. What, if you don't wear
But,
shoes.
but the judge in that courtroom, since the beginning of this country, the judge in that courtroom, he is supreme over everything. If the judge orders you to put on a pink tutu and wear that to
No,
court,
that's not how it works.
But-
If
but
you-
he-
let's
but
play
he has
this out.
that authority.
So you walk in there like that.
that's his decorum.
You know what the judge would say? You're not dressed accordingly to be in this courtroom, please leave.
Right.
And now my judge has never done this because nobody's ever done it. But if you refuse to leave, you don't get arrested for not wearing shoes in the court. You get arrested for violating an order of the court.
Right, that's
That's
what I'm
what
not,
Contempt of the court.
Okay?
Right, and that's why-
the same
that's
as
why I'm
here.
not
That's
crossing the
same
door.
as here. You know,
But you guys-
199,
you guys do-
potential charge since you have been given the documents.
I've been notified,
Right.
so that's why I won't cross.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you guys still, after weeks and weeks and weeks, guess what you don't have up at the door?
The signage is coming. They have
They-
ordered the signage. I'm not in
Thank you.
charge of that.
And I brought that up too.
So,
And-
so
and-
right now you're catching 1, 2, but other people are going in there and they've got other rights that other people don't because you're not properly posting and notifying.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree with you.
That's why we can't take enforcement action until we actually give them the order and they get a chance to read it. If we just went in there and you were recording, you didn't know, it's our job to make you know, give you the opportunity to be in
Right.
compliance. Because sometimes it's not a reasonable expectation to be not be in compliance with something you don't know exists.
Well, like a trespass order.
Pretty much.
Go watch my videos. Case
Listen,
dismissed.
We got a meeting
Go do your
with
meeting.
some representatives from Jan Evans. I'm sorry to cut this short.
No, you're
but-
good. I like I said, I'm
seriously.
trying to assert my rights under Marcy's law, gather the information for the case where I was a victim and I was assaulted. Guess why I was assaulted?
I'm sure.
Because an allied security guard named Tom at DMV didn't like me recording the lines around DMV.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't know.
But he assaulted me, he was sentenced, and I want to see what happened in my case that I was a victim of. And again, that's why I'm expressing Marcy's law.
Did you get that information from the DA's office?
Yeah, I went upstairs to the 4th floor.
Yeah.
But they can't give me the. She goes, I just see this on my screen, but they can't give me all the case information.
Was he found guilty?
He was found guilty, yes. So she said, I've got to come down here, and then my question is, I refuse to deal with government unless I'm recording it and maintain control of my recording. You've got your recording, cool, but that's under the control of people that aren't me. My recording they're recording. Between the two of them, nothing can go wrong. If you only have one party in charge of it, can one party change things?
Now, is it not just recording? Do you also approve written correspondence? Because the thing is you can always email them, and they will email you those documents.
I could, but my purpose is to
I understand.
document, disseminate, show the public what's happening in society.
I understand.
Because again, I was upstairs talking to the victims' right people upstairs, and there was another man that came upstairs and he started talking about a 4th of July murder at 2 a.m. that happened somewhere, and a guy was getting shot, and this whole field of people were getting shot at.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going, was that ever on our local news?
Right.
Oh no, of course not.
Wow.
So the news media, do they really publish what's happening in our society? Or is the mainstream media, legacy media, are they just really a mouthpiece of huge corporations?
Right.
So
No, that's not surprising.
citizen journalism,
Back in June 2019, I think it was June, I might be wrong about the month. I drove into work and there was a crime scene team out there, the type of people that come out for a deceased individual. Never seen it in the media.
yeah, that's what I mean is,
You know, but it,
do we really know what's going on in our community via legacy
question I would
media?
ask is, you know, normally, like when we have an evacuation downtown, Channel 2 will show up, Channel 8 sometimes multiple other news entities, depending on severity and length of time. But are they required to show up to get that information? Because I know when I drove by, it didn't get reported in the news media because there was no news media on scene to
Right.
or report.
Exactly.
So that's a question to ask. You know, it's not always, I think, the executive branch law enforcement's keeping stuff from public knowledge. Sometimes it's the people that would be responsible for getting that information out to the public.
Well,
isn't
the legacy media.
Or maybe they think a political segment's better than the local news.
Does legacy media do negative reports for the most part on government, or do they mostly go along with government, say this is the new policy, it's so great, comply with it? What is their message? Is their message one of questioning government, or is mainstream media one of going along with compliance with government? Are they really doing their job within our Constitution, which is holding government accountable so that people can see what's going on, and when the people go to vote, they can make their decisions that way? So maybe you agree with my thought process on that, maybe you don't.
No, it's a good theory. I mean, I would have to definitely look into it.
You know, bullshit aside, if I ever run into you after I'm retired, I'm no longer in law enforcement, you know, I would entertain an opinionated discussion about my personal views of the Constitution.
I'd like that.
Because I'm going to tell you wholeheartedly, I don't 100% agree with everything as far as like how things are written down and how things come out in the washer. But with that being said, I'm not going to put myself in any kind of compromising position whatsoever.
Right now, you
when
don't
I'm
have a First Amendment.
Even though we're not considered a law enforcement agency under the state of Nevada, we do have peace officer status.
Right.
And we are considered a law enforcement entity of the judicial branch of the government.
Right.
So, but I'm not going to.
Under NRS, you've gone to post and done all that stuff.
Correct.
As
Yeah,
opposed to
we
the
have the same qualifications and certs as everybody else.
as opposed to the Esmeralda County Sheriff. I don't know if you heard about that guy.
No, I didn't.
But
He
listen,
can't get post
serious
certified.
business, we got to get to this meeting. We're already a little late.
Okay, I appreciate it. And call me up, contact me once you take your costume off.
I know your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So
And so you know what I'm about. I'm just about how do you fix the problems in society. That's all that I'm about. I see this as a problem. I see lack of accountability as a problem. I think that when you go to work and I go to work, if I screw up, people should be able to sue me. If you screw up, people should be able to sue you. And for years, what I've seen in our government is government actors not having any accountability, making decisions, making policies, making law without any legislative background, governor's signature, or anything else. And so that's my major issue. And how do I change that? How do I effectuate change? So far, this has worked. So I appreciate it. Okay. Again, when you take off the costume someday,
yeah.
and you're not, and you've regained.
Tell you, not all our views will align, or maybe not even half. But I just on some not related to First Amendment stuff, but other issues, I'm not going to comment on. But one day when I'm not a representative of the entity.
When you have your First Amendment rights back.
I would gladly express, some thoughts.
That would be, that would be a very interesting discussion. Maybe it could change stuff.
Nice meeting you, Drew.
Good meeting you.
Good seeing you.
And when I do what I do, remember there's nothing personal.
I know that, and that's why we've always just had, conversations.
Okay.
But, you respect what I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah.
but I understand you would want change in what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And
Because to me, one individual putting a stick over the counter shouldn't affect everybody else.
I totally understand.
That one individual, there should be a law or some issue that you can take action to resolve that issue as opposed to restricting the entire population of the country.
I totally understand your point. All right, and I will see you soon.
Okay, have a good one.
Take care of yourself.
Yep. Okay, everybody. Well, that was a live feed, wasn't it? That went for a while. We're pushing the rights again. That's the third time they've kept me out of there. This time they used a couple of other different reasonings, as you all heard. So anyways, we found out that the Allied security guard has been convicted, sentenced September 13th. There's our flag. And I think I'm out of here. Everybody, like button, subscribe, hit the bell, do all that fun stuff. Excited to try to grow this channel more and more as I think about it and I get into this. So gonna keep posting some regular videos, following up, doing my thing. I appreciate the time y'all spent with me. Signing off, have a nice day.